How do I know I'm going to be successful? How do I know that it's worth putting in all of this effort to do the things that I'm doing? Why do I keep going? Why do I try? These questions that people ask me, and I wanted to highlight some of these factors as a podcast episode because I think it's important to highlight the fact that any successful person will face these same inner battles, these same questions. They might face it from their own internal self, and then once they get over that, they'll start facing it from other people. There's a couple of things to address here. The first one is how do you know you're going to be successful? The core fundamental thing that breeds success is the ability to keep turning up. Whatever you do, don't stop. Now, this is balanced with the concept of, well, surely if you just keep doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results, that's the definition of insanity, right? Well, let's consider this. You need to keep turning up, keep trying, but also have a feedback loop, a feedback mechanism, some way to show you if you are improving and if you're not, to start learning. So I look at everything I'm doing and I apply that metric to it. I'm not genetically the strongest, nor the smartest, nor the anythingest. But what I do know is that I have the ability to keep turning up. Day in, day out, I will just work. Now, I don't know if that trait's genetic, but I feel like it isn't, because looking at where I've come from to where I am now, a lot of change has happened. One of my inspirations for this was looking over at basically every famous author and looking at their advice. And when you sort of synthesize it down and just look at what they say, the advice basically is read every day, write every day. And the same's true for almost every expert, professional, world-class performer. When you look at their performance, even you look at what they say to do, they just basically say, don't stop, just keep turning up. There's a quote I really like on this that was basically goes along the lines of, do you remember the guy who gave up? No one does. By some anonymous person, which I find a bit ironic. But that quote is very inspirational. So how do I apply that to my life? Every day I meditate. Every day I exercise. Every day I do my Russian lessons. Every day I put content out. And that could be podcasting or writing or video blogs or a Skillshare course or anything like that. Over time, looking back at my past work, looking at where I am now, I can see a slow and steady improvement. And that's both in the quality of the content that I'm putting out, but also in the feedback that I'm getting from you guys, in the numbers, in the growth of book sales, in the growth of podcast subscribers, all of that sort of stuff, website visits, blog visits. And it's just really good to see that growth. Now, I'm like 3.5 years in at this stage, and only very recently am I starting to earn any money from this. Now, this isn't to say that money's the goal, because what I'm doing here, it's not a monetary goal. However, it's a good yardstick to measure things by. Now, to put this into context, it's maybe 10 to 20% of the income I need to survive. And that's not to, do anything fancy or flashy. That's just to, have a roof over my head and eat food. So I'm still a long way off supporting myself with my books and podcasts and all that sort of stuff. That's fine. Like I've said many times, the reason I'm doing this is basically I want to share the information that has helped me and can help other people. What I see though is people that I meet online and in person, they see what I'm doing, they see the numbers that I'm getting, and they want that for themselves. But the problem is they're only seeing me in the last 6 months. They're not seeing the 3 years prior to that. or, you know, where I've been putting in this work every day, nor are they seeing the years and years and years of previous study and other experience that I had that enabled me to even start in the first place. There's a level of impatience that I think people have. And, you know, you really do have to put in the work for multiple reasons. You're not good enough. You're just not, if you just when you first start in anything. And, you know, a good analogy is exercise, both weightlifting or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the martial arts that I practice. With weightlifting, if you want to get strong, you have to go to the gym daily. You have to exercise daily. It's just, there's no way around it, and the weight doesn't lie. You know, if you try to pick up some weight and you haven't put in the work, you just simply can't. If you try to run a distance in a certain time and you don't have the fitness because you haven't put in the work, you simply can't. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is a grappling martial art. Basically, it's like wrestling but with submission holds. And there's a direct correlation between time spent training and your ability to do the martial art. Basically, if someone is around my weight now, maybe 15 kilos lighter even, whatever, and they've been training more than me, they will beat me consistently. I might get lucky, but that might be like a 1 in 20 shot, 1 in 30 shot. It's pretty clear cut. If you train more, you are better. That's a great analogy for everything. The reason I'm harping on about this is because I want to drill home that point that if you do the work, you get the results. Simple. There's a direct correlation there. But for whatever reason, people are hesitant to risk it. They don't want to try. They don't want to be like, oh, but what if I put in the work and I don't get anything out of it? Yeah, that might happen. There are so many things that I've done that haven't produced direct results. One of them was starting a physical myotherapy business with my wife. We started it, then we got pregnant. And that caused us to have to hire staff sooner than we would like, and a whole bunch of other things, and we failed. Now, I could look at that, and that could have just, you know, chopped the legs out from under me. Or I could look at it another way and go, okay, I just got an expensive lesson in business. Fine. Now I'm moving on. Now, the lessons that I learned, the money that cost, has paid dividends later on, and it will continue to do so. It's okay to fail, provided you learn from those failures. Another thing I want to highlight is that there's a massive lag between taking action and seeing tangible results. It will take ages for your gym work to produce strength gains, your meditation work to produce mental benefits. And same thing, it will take ages for you when you start doing any project to start seeing rewards. If you expect that, if you know that, and if you account for that, you will get some growth, and you will see some growth, and you will be able to get there. The final thing I want to address is that that when I share this, people will ask me, well, what started you down this path? How did you get this motivation to keep going without that direct reward? And my answer is something along the lines of, I realized that every successful person is just a people, right? They're just a person. They're just someone who decided one day that they're going to do something and get good at it and get really good at it, and they just kept going. Then I thought, okay, I can do that too. I can keep turning up. That's something that I can do. I can swallow my pride, I can swallow my ego, and I can keep trying. And then I thought, okay, what is something that I could keep turning up and doing that would be rewarding for me and beneficial for other people? That if I was and able to turn it into a full-time career, I would like to keep going with. And that for me was mental health advocacy and writing. So that's where I went, and I just keep turning up with it. I have a lot of other little goals and a lot of other little things. One of my real sort of long-term goals is to do fiction writing. Why did I choose that? Because it is hard, or at the time, it was seemingly impossible. Now, I'm still working on it. I'm still growing, and I'm in the process of writing my first proper novel. I've done a couple of anthologies, but I'm working on that proper first novel. And I guess a lot of the stuff that I've done, the mental health writing, has helped me to start getting my own story out there. It's helped me to start writing in that first place. Why do I want to do something that was so hard? Because what's life without challenge? So now I'm left with this. I'm going to keep turning up daily. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to learn from my failures. And I'm going to know that if other people can keep turning up and get successful, so can I. And I'll know and expect to have to wait for that lag, that delayed gratification, that putting in the money, the time, the effort now for the investment in my future. So that's where I'm at. So now, for those listening, I also am recording this podcast. So for those that are watching this, hello. You're not going to be able to get the next part of the episode. I'll put the link down below. But for those that are listening, I'm going to be sharing a chapter of How to Get Your Shit Together called Keep Turning Up. It will go into in-depth this concept a little bit more in a focused capacity, I suppose. For those that haven't gotten on board, How to Get Your Shit Together is the summary of the tips, tricks, and ideas and concepts that have helped me to go from a place of basically surviving to passionately thriving. It covers what I feel is necessary for a self-help book. Basically, I go from I talk about overcoming anxiety, defeating depression, moving on from trauma. The idea being is that, you need to deal with your mental afflictions. Then there's a chapter on getting organized, and this is all of your life skills. Then I go into finding meaning and following your dreams. Now, when I say a chapter, I more mean a part. Each part has 8 to 10 subchapters, and one of those subchapters is keep turning up. I like this. The reason I like the book, the reason I made it this way is because if you want to help yourself, you need to work on your mental afflictions. You need to work on how to sort of do stuff in the world. And then you also need to work on following your dreams, because what's the point of dealing with your mental state if you haven't got a goal? And if you do have a goal, if you are following your dreams, mental issues will arise, right? So I wanted this book to encompass all of those things. And at the start of the book, I break it down into some principles, 7 principles that if you follow those principles, you wouldn't need to read the rest of the book. You wouldn't need that sort of technical, real deep dive. But I gave both because in my experience as a teacher, students learn differently. Me personally, I'm very conceptual. Give me the concept and I'll figure out the technique myself. Other people are very technical and they want the specific advice. So I decided to hit all of it. Now, for those that are watching, you can see this book is quite large, which is why I'm breaking it down and sharing it. Why am I sharing it? Well, this is one of those long-term goal things. I don't want to put information that can help people behind a paywall. I'm going to release everything I do forever for free over time as a blog and as a podcast. Now, how does this work in terms of my financial setup, in terms of my financial goals and surviving off this? Well, this is the trade-off. I'm playing that long-term goal. If you want to support what I'm doing here, if you're enjoying my podcast, have a listen to the book. And if you want it all in one place, you can buy a copy. Paperback, ebook, and audiobook. If you can't afford it, that's fine. I completely understand. I moved out of home at 15, so I get it. For those people, you will have to wait for me to get around to uploading them and talking about them on the podcast like I'm doing now. But if you click the link down below to the How to Get Your Shit Together page on my website, you'll be able to see all the chapters that are up already. And I think I've got about 10 or so up. Most of them have corresponding podcasts. So yeah, like I said, listen to the chapter. It's out now as a paperback, ebook, and audio. And if you like it, grab a copy. If you don't want to wait, grab a copy. If you can't afford it, that's completely fine. I just want to help. I just want to share the advice that have helped me and I know is helping other people. Catch ya.